Hello everyone, this is Venom, and I've noticed something in the Destiny 2 community here recently. It's not a huge shift that I'm seeing, it's not a lot of people doing this, but I am starting to see something that I saw once upon a time between WoW and Final Fantasy XIV. Now, I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV for a few years now. I've never played World of Warcraft, but I noticed there for a while that I guess WoW was actually going through some. They were having some issues with the player base having some issues with the developers. They basically weren't getting what they want, and a lot of players actually went from playing World of Warcraft and went just to go play Final Fantasy XIV. I think Asmongold had a lot to do with that, but a lot of people jumped ship from WoW and went to go play Final Fantasy XIV, and we've still got a lot of those players. Now I'm noticing something similar kind of happening right now between Destiny 2 and Warframe. Now Warframe is a game that's been around for over a decade. I've been playing long enough that I've got every Warframe except one. I actually started playing right after they stopped giving out the Excalibur Primes. As I just barely missed out on that. I've got everything else. I'm Master Rank 30. I've been playing the game for a very long time. I do enjoy it. It is, for those who don't know, it's a free-to-play game. It is a looter shooter, much like Destiny 2. Now, it's a looter shooter. It really doesn't have much more in common with Destiny versus being a looter shooter, though. I mean, the gunplay is all different. There is like, I forgot how many now. I think up to like 40 plus warframes. Like, I gotta double check. There's damn near 50 warframes at this point. There's a lot. We've only got 3 different Guardian classes, however, though. Now, we've got some different subclasses. We got different element types. We got different, we got like Void, Arc, Solar, Strand, and Stasis. However, there's like damn near 50 different warframes, all with different, mostly unique abilities. Now, some kind of overlap a bit, like invisibility, that kind of thing, but for the most part, every warframe plays completely different. Which is something I like about the game. You get to collect warframes, you get to collect a lot of different weapons. There's a lot of different weapons in the game, just like there's a lot of different weapons in Destiny 2, all of which have different amounts of usefulness. I mean, some are just, fodder in Warframe. We call it mastery rank fodder. You just train them up to add to your mastery rank. And in Destiny 2, there's plenty of weapons that are like will drop weapons that really don't see much use. Now, I'm bringing this up because I know a lot of people are kind of wondering, with everything going on with Destiny 2 right now, with everything going on with Bungie and Sony, is Destiny 2 going to be around a while? Are we going to have to look for a different game? And just in case you're wondering, if you're looking for a one-to-one for Destiny 2, you're probably never going to find one. I think the Descent is probably close right now, but Warframe definitely isn't it. Now, I'm not saying Warframe's bad. I'm not trying to discourage you from playing Warframe at all, but I am saying get ready for a different kind of game. Now, it is a looter shooter, but there were a lot of differences between Warframe and Destiny 2 that don't quite translate over. So, for example, Destiny 2's got a very definitive end game. Okay, it's got dungeons, it's got raids. Raids are really the big end game for PvE, and of course, for PvP, you got stuff like the Trials of Osiris. First off, Warframe's basically got no PvP. I think I've done in like the last decade maybe 2 PvP matches, and that was it. I mean, there's very little. Now, I think it's improved a bit in the last few years. I know we've got a few additions to the system added in, but Warframe's never had a very good PvP system, or a very good PvP scene in general. Now, Destiny 2, of course, has got a huge PvP scene. It's got Trials of Osiris. It's got stuff like the Iron Banner, or Banner. I can't talk. Banner. And it's got just a regular PvP too, so yeah, we've got a pretty robust PvP system in Destiny 2. There's not a very big one in Warframe. Now, as far as the in-game stuff, Warframe doesn't have much of an in-game either. At one point, we did have things like raids. Unfortunately, I never got to participate in the raids before they went away. Now, Destiny 2, of course, has a lot of different raids and stuff like that, but for Warframe, there's a lot of different quote-unquote in-game stuff, and most of it is really just grinding reputation in different areas. Now, there are a lot of weapon parts that are a lot harder to get, a lot of warframes that you need a lot more grinding to get than some of the standard frames, but really that's not really in-game stuff. That's just regular, grinding for your frames and grinding for your weapons. Now, whereas Destiny 2 still has got a very poor new player experience, in fact, that's still probably the biggest thing right now holding Destiny 2 back, even without the stuff going on with the layoffs right now, 2 different layoffs right now, even without the acquisition from Sony, even without all of that stuff, the biggest thing holding Destiny 2 back right now is the one thing that they still have not fixed, and that is the new player experience. And the only way to fix a new player experience specifically for Destiny 2 is to give us back all the old content they croaked from us. Now, they gave us back a lot of the weapons, and they literally unsunset the weapons that were sunset. However, until they actually give us back the Red War and all the story content leading up to the final shape, Unfortunately, Destiny 2's new game experience is not going to be great. It's not going to be able to recover. You're trying to make a new game or a new player experience and get players engaged in the story when they're missing the story, and that's a big issue in Destiny 2. Warframe has improved the new player experience. Now, there's two sides to Warframe. They got, the main map, and they've got the new map. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a standalone map, and that's going to bring me to another issue Warframe has kind of had that Destiny 2 doesn't really have. Warframe has got a lot of systems that are not interchangeable and don't really translate outside of the activity that they're in. For example, there for a while we had something called Arcwing. We still do. But they were essentially space missions that you could do, and you were basically flying around with basically wings attached to you. They actually looked pretty cool. They were kind of fun, but they never really went anywhere. Like the mods and the resources you got out of it could improve your Arcwing stuff, but for the most part, there's very little you get out of it that translated to other parts of the game. Unfortunately, Warframe has got a bad habit of doing that. They did the same thing with the Railjack missions. It was basically, ship combat in space that only really translated to ship combat in space. The mods and the different modules you got for them to upgrade your Railjack, upgraded your Railjack, but they didn't really give you anything to use outside of Railjack. Now, a lot of that's improved a bit over the years. However, the overlap with other systems still is not very good. Now, keep in mind, though, it's been probably about 5 months, maybe 6 months since I played Warframe. Warframe is one of those games to where I come in every time they release a new frame, or maybe every 2 frames. Typically, every new frame, I come in and I play the game. I've got a lot of resources saved up over the game, so I can usually go just outright buy the frame I want to. If not, go ahead and grind for it. And buying the frame, by the way, is going to bring me to the next thing I want to talk about. And this is something that has always been a pipe dream of mine for Destiny 2. And that is, there's actually an in-game currency that you can buy called Platinum for real game money. Now, Destiny 2 is a free-to-play game, and they make money basically by selling, the stuff on their store. You can buy Warframes, you can buy weapons, you can buy boosters, you can buy a lot of different stuff. Now, the nice thing about Warframe is, and this is something I always use as an example of how to do free-to-play, how to monetize a game for free-to-play, is that you can get just about everything in-game without buying it on the market. And in fact, there's actually more stuff to find in-game that you cannot find on the market than there is stuff on the market. So, and by that I mean there's stuff that's found in-game that you just cannot buy. There's stuff that's not even tradable. Now, the cool thing about it is that the currency is called Platinum. You got your credits, which are the in-game currency, and you got Platinum, which is the premium currency. You can buy Platinum. You can actually trade that between players. You can sell other players' items. Imagine something like that in Destiny 2. I know it's never going to happen, but imagine something like that in other games. You can actually trade the currency in between players. It is amazing, and I really love it. You can go through and never spend a dime and be rich in Platinum. Now, I personally have spent money on the game. I've bought Platinum before. I bought some items, and I've done a lot of trading over the years, too. So I got a nice few thousand Platinum. Nothing crazy. I know some players who have never, ever spent a dime and have, tens of thousands of Platinum just from grinding in the game. Now, I also know people who just, spend every spare, well, not every spare penny, but, they toss a few bucks at to buy some Platinum whenever they want to. And, that's perfectly fine, too. They can support the game how they want to. It is a very I'm not going to say non-predatory because there are a couple things that are still somewhat predatory. But it is a very fair way, I'd say, to monetize the game. Now, there are a couple things I mentioned that are a bit predatory. When you're building weapons and you're building Warframes, you typically, besides the resources you need, it actually takes real-life time to build them. So, it takes about literally one in-game week to build a new Warframe. So once you've got all the parts, it takes about 24 hours to build each part. And then you combine each part into the actual Warframe itself, and that takes 4 days. So that does take some time. And of course, there are boosters and ways to speed up that time. So that's where that comes into play. But for the most part, if you don't mind, then, you can just do the whole game without spending anything. Now, Destiny 2 doesn't have nearly as good of a monetization system as that. We, of course, have the Eververse, which is just all cosmetic crap, which, for a game that is premium price, which Destiny 2 is, they should not have anything. I don't like the fact that they have the stuff in the store that is not necessarily cosmetic. Now, most of the stuff they have that's not cosmetic is not super game-breaking or anything. However, I'd still probably want to buy it myself. And even then, it's very little. It's usually going to be in the Event Pass stuff. So, the Event Pass stuff is really going to be, again, it's not going to be game-breaking stuff, but it's stuff that can only be bought during different events to upgrade your your card, and I don't like that. Now again, it's not actually in-game stuff that's got to change anything. You're not going to be doing more damage to enemies by buying a certain gun skin. Now there are some gun skins that change the scope for certain things, and that can make a difference in accuracy. I've known a couple skins actually change the distance that a gun could fire. And get its maximum accuracy, but that is very few and far between. For the most part, it's just cosmetic stuff in Destiny 2. So those are other differences between Warframe and Destiny 2. Warframe is also a game, and I gotta make this very clear, and I talked about this already before in this video, but the in-game is just not there. Now, I would say Warframe and Destiny 2 are the exact opposites of each other in that respect. Warframe has got a very good grind, it's got a lot of stuff to do in game, it's got a lot of different systems. However, most of those systems are not fleshed out very well, or they flesh it out a bit, but never really go anywhere with it. Like I said, the Arc Wings didn't do anything for a long time. We had Railjacks that did not much for a while. Necromechs have been a huge improvement, which I like a lot, but even that can only be used in certain areas, but even Necromechs are more fleshed out than the Arc Wings and Railjacks were. Now, Destiny 2, however, has got very few systems, but they are fairly fleshed out. And by systems, I mean there's not really any other additional systems to Destiny 2. Like, we don't have special vehicles outside of our Sparrows that you use for Destiny 2. There's no space combat or anything like that. It's all gunplay. It's all about your classes. So there's no other real system. It's really just PvE versus PvP. Warframe's got a lot of different systems. There is your Warframe combat, your Necromech combat, you got Arcwing, you've got Railjack, you've got your actual operator itself. So all those are different kinds of combat and different systems that you would use. That's a bunch of stuff that all of it, again, does not necessarily translate to helping each other out. So you can do a lot of Railjack missions, and it's never going to help you whatsoever in the story or make your Warframe any stronger at all. It's kind of insane. And again, most of it is a bit hyperbolic. Or no, not hyperbolic. It's true, but there are like very few instances where it's wrong. Like, there are a couple like prizes and mods like in some of these systems that you can use in other parts of Warframe, but for the most part, like I'd say 95 to 99% of what you do in these other systems don't translate very well, if at all. Now, I mentioned this merely as an observation. I've seen a few Destiny 2 players going over to play Warframe. In fact, Maddox was playing. I think he just finished up the second Dream Quest. And I'm kind of envious of some of the people going over to play Warframe now for the first time, because they're getting to play like 10 years worth of content in just a few days. Now, Warframe does not actually have a lot of story content. Their stuff releases, like, there's a new expansion out maybe every other year, to be honest. Oftentimes, I'm just kind of surprised when an expansion comes out. I'm playing other games for a couple years, and then boom, Warframe has some expansion come out, and I go back in and play it, or I missed one, and I go back and get to play that, so that's kind of cool. So a lot of people are getting to go in, and they're playing Warframe content it's come out over the last decade. I mean, we're still waiting on some story beats to kind of drop too for Warframe. The content has just really been slow getting out story-wise for the main story. Now, again, I am glad people are going to play it now, but it's not like Destiny 2's release schedule. So, I mean, Destiny 2 does have releases a lot more often than Warframe does. Again, not saying this to discourage anything or to, criticize Warframe in any way, but I do want to make sure people have the understanding that if you're going in to play Warframe, I mean, once you get through all the story quests and stuff, especially the main story, don't expect there to be like a bunch of additional stuff coming in anytime soon. Like I said, maybe every year, maybe every other year. It's not like a seasonal content for Destiny 2. Now, like I said, I play every maybe 5-6 months, and that's just because a new Warframe has come out. Usually there's a story behind it, and that's kind of what I'm playing. So that's how I come back to the game. Other people play the game just religiously. I've seen plenty of big YouTubers come and go from the game. I mean, I've seen YouTubers that I only knew because of Warframe. I mean, basically completely quit their channels or do other projects at this point. So that's how long I've been playing and watching Warframe content. So it has been a while, but like I said, I am happy to see people coming into Warframe and playing the game now, getting to experience all this for the first time, getting to check out all the awesome frames now. I always wish that Destiny 2 could take more beats from Warframe and vice versa, but I mean, we see where Bungie's at now with the content and with the issues that their studio's having, so we'll see what happens is going on in the future. But if you're looking to check out another good looter shooter, Warframe is a way to go. Just remember, it's not going to be, very few games are going to be even close to Destiny 2. I'm not saying that the quality's not there, but I am saying that the style of game. And if you're looking for certain stuff, like the in-game stuff, like raid, stuff like that, you're not going to find that in Warframe. There is some high-end activity stuff you can do, but if you're looking for, like, that big 6-man, take out bosses in like a 2 to 3 hour raid type situation, Warframe doesn't have any equivalent for that right now. They've got some challenging boss fights, But as you go, well, you'll see how boss fights in once you go in and check it out. So go ahead and check out Warframe if you haven't already. I've just observed a lot of people going in and playing, so go ahead and check it out. I don't have a clan I can go ahead and pimp. I am part of a clan in Warframe, but it is a very small clan. They let me stay on. You know, I have been with them for years just because, you know, they don't care if I'm gone for 6 months and I come back. I mean, that's literally, I've been in like 8 to 10 clans in Warframe, and this is the longest one I've been in because they are fine with me going away for like 6 months. It's like maybe 5 guys in there. I come back in for, you know, a week or two. I upload a ton of resources to the clan. I help build a bunch of projects. I do whatever content there is, and I'm gone playing whatever other games I'm playing for months at a time. So that's why I'm in that clan. I've had clans that my Destiny 2 clans I've been in. Also had Warframe clans, and you know I just never really got into the Warframe clan from them. So. But yeah, that's going to do it for today, guys. Please leave a like in the video if you like what we're doing. Let me know what you guys think about Warframe if you checked it out. Let me know if you think people are going to be heading over and checking that one. Like I said, I've seen a couple YouTubers going out and checking it out. It's the same phenomenon I saw when people started jumping ship from WoW to Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know if it's going to be permanent, but I do know that, hey, any game getting an influx of new players is usually pretty good. So, thank y'all for coming by. Please, if you love what we're doing, please sub to the channel, and I will see y'all on the next video.